at a time where he spoke about the gains of the government. He spoke about the reset agenda. He spoke about the gains that had been made within the course of the year. The president again spoke about the cocoa price revision issues, and then also spoke about our macroeconomic indicators and its effect on the global market, the impression of the country as seen by the global market. He spoke about the Accra reset agenda, where we intend to move the whole of Africa from the center of the equator. My guest today would be discussing these topics with me in studio. We'll see how what he said, how does it reflect on the ground, how realistic are the things that were said, are they really what is reflected on the ground, are they really the position of the people of Ghana. Again, in addition to that, we noticed also that there were issues about the emergency handling of situations at hospitals, some accidents that happened, and how people or the victim was treated, being moved from one hospital to the other, being tossed, being refused treatment. The Speaker of Parliament has called for a bill, an emergency care law, to manage this issue about no beds. This is not the first. Remember, in 2018 there was an issue also about no beds, resulting in the death of an 80-year-old man and also a woman that was pregnant and was turned away from 7 different medical facilities. It's becoming a recurring problem for us as a people, and we believe that, as the president even mentioned it in his State of Nation address, we would come to an end of this situation. These and many more are the issues that we'll be discussing this morning on Current Agenda, your most authoritative news analysis program, and also your Saturday morning companion. We'll be right back after this break.
Agenda is brought to you by Bank of Africa, the African bank with global reach. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner, and National Petroleum Authority, NPA, where customer care meets excellence.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
Current Agenda is brought to you by Bank of Africa, the African bank with global reach. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner, and National Petroleum Authority, NPA, where customer care meets excellence.
Welcome back from the break. This is Current Agenda, your most authoritative news analysis program. This morning on Reflections, I would speak on a very interesting and a delicate topic, one that I know we speak in our homes. In fact, the president even mentioned it in the State of the Nation's address. The speaker has also spoken on the issue. The minority and the majority have all spoken. This issue about how we treat emergency cases at our various hospitals. It's very painful that for a country that is turning 69 in almost a week's time, we actually turn away people with emergency cases with the excuse that there is no bed. That's the most grave and the most painful thing that can be done to any human being. I personally believe that 80% of our death cases in hospitals in other jurisdictions, probably these people wouldn't die. It's as a result of carelessness. It's as a result of negligence. It's as a result of our structural deficit. I can say on authority that this issue about no bed, I have gone to reach, and I can tell you that when you go to the upper floors, there are beds. So the issue is not about the structure called the bed. It's basically because to move one bed from a top floor down there, you need to put it in an elevator. And one can fit, it's only one that can fit in an elevator. And so looking at the number of times somebody probably has to go up and down. Because on some floors, you do not have the necessary infrastructure. You don't have the oxygens. You do not have all those things there. And so everything has to be brought down. And to prevent that, people say there is no bed. But really, 69 years of independence. We worry ourselves, and we're always talking about digital age, talking about AI. What is the point of AI when you can't even save a life? When you can't save a life? When you bring people who are dying to a hospital and we turn them away simply because we say we do not have a bed or we do not have what it takes to treat these people. That is painful. That is shameful. We do not even need to hit our chest and boast of being Ghanaians. This experience of a Ghanaian, it's painful. And what happened to the 29-year-old engineer is not the first. In 2018, similar happened. There was chaos, there was talk, there was shout, Parliament made noise, not noise, but Parliament discussed, said a lot of things. We are back, 2026. Again, we are talking about it. We'll discuss it. And as a nation, after 1 week, 2 weeks, something else will take over our attention and we'll sweep it under the carpet. Then it will happen again. On this planet Earth, in this century, how can any ambulance not have a system in place that communicates with hospitals to know whether there is a bed or not to even drive there? How can an ambulance drive to a hospital just to realize there is no bed? That is precious time being wasted. An ambulance picks a patient, gives the patient first aid, moves the patient to a hospital for them to tell them there's no bed. Moves to the next hospital, no bed. Moves to the next hospital, no bed. We are working with borrowed time. Borrowed time. And I'm saying this from a place of pain because I've experienced same recently, where hospitals even refuse to give first aid to sustain people and just refer. When somebody comes to your facility, needs to be sustained before referred. The first thing they do is to ask the people to move. The ambulance takes them to the next place. They said nothing, you move, and we keep moving people, keep moving people, keep moving people. And the painful part is that they use our money to pay them when they are in school. We hear about nurses and whatever it is allowance. That is my money. My tax is used to pay somebody who, when I bring my parent, when I bring my sibling, when I bring my friend, has the audacity to look me in the face and tell me that nothing can be done. You cannot say you become nonchalant because you've seen death over and over again. No. You can't. And I repeat, 80% of the cases we let go in this country, people who die, I personally believe that in other jurisdictions, that death will not happen. Imagine this 29-year-old man, young person, engineer, what he could have contributed to this country. His dream has been cut short. And within the course of the week, I read something which I can't say whether it's true, but I heard that his father actually donates beds to hospitals. The irony of it. His father donates beds to hospitals, and yet he was denied a bed. I mean, is it worth dying for this country? I understand he was trained outside the country and decided to come back to serve the nation. Was it a wrong decision to make? What wrong have we done to have been born Ghanaians? This is the land of my birth. I love and cherish Ghana. A lot of us have had opportunities to probably consider other options outside. But we say that this is Ghana. It's for us. It belongs to the two of us. You watching me and me speaking to you. During COVID, we saw how health professionals were treated in this country. We've seen how governments in past have decided to even cut duties at the ports for health professionals. All these things have been done. And yet still, it's painful. I mean, when you go to the hospital and you see how people are nonchalant about your situation, it's painful. These same people, when they go to banks and they are treated this way, they complain. When they sit in public transport and they are disrespected, they complain. But yet when you enter the medical facility, you are at the mercy of these people. Who are you to even criticize them when they give you poor customer service? You will die. And so we swallow all this in and say nothing. And yet still, 29, not even 30, not even 40, 29, just when he's supposed to start contributing as an engineer. The very fabric, he's gone. Just like that. Buried. Just like that. Why? Because certain nurse, and you see, I hear that people have been suspended. It wouldn't bring the dead back. What would that suspension do for the father who's lost the son, the mother who's lost the son? What would that do? Nothing. So you suspend, everybody keeps quiet before you realize the person has come back and is working, and everything is normal. And to government also, let's stop this attitude of wanting to dress issues. And this is not speaking to one particular government, speaking to politicians in general. Let's stop dressing issues when it comes up and start making political gain and making an MPP NDC. We the people do not vote for you to come and tell us what you did better than the previous government. No. I don't care what the MPP did wrong or what the NDC is. What I care is how you are going to make my life better. If you have a problem to solve with them. But make my healthcare needs better. How can you be talking about having a ratio of 42 health personnel to 10,000 people? and that is an achievement. We've risen from 16.6 to 42 in 10 years almost. And that's an achievement. So for every 10,000 people, we have 42 health personnel attending to us at a time. How callous can they not be? 42. And these are the same health professionals who are in a hurry to go on social media to create content and get following and cash in. It's sad. We have hospital or medical facilities left uncompleted from Wallins's time, from Kufuor's time, from J.E. Mills' time, from Mahama 1, from Ekuf, and they are there, and we keep doing audits. Today we'll talk about SONA. We will hear the politicians telling us that, oh, we are doing audits. We will play 2016 SONA, you see audits. 2017 audits, everybody. And we are leaving them to rot. The president mentioned that there's about, when they took over, there are about 106,000 nurses unemployed. 16 or 13 or 16,000 have been employed. That's about 10%. And yet,
self-reliant health system for all Ghanaians.
It's painful. Really, really, really painful. I condole with the family of the young engineer. I condole with them. I pray that the Lord God Almighty grants them peace, fills their heart, fills that void that has been created. I understand the gentleman's either elder sister or younger sister is also a medical doctor. The irony around this, it's so much. It's so interesting. And to the staff at Promasidor, I condole with you all. It's a painful loss, and I know that nothing we would say can fill that void. But I pray that this really becomes a wake-up call for us as a people. I pray that we do not do the usual politicking with this. We do not do the usual rhetorics with this. And speak. We are losing too many people in this country out of carelessness, out of negligence, and out of lack. If hospitals cannot boast of infrastructure enough to keep alive, how can people be sharing oxygen? Really? Oxygen. That somebody needs oxygen, he can take a whole 10 minutes because there's only one person who can come and fix it. And he's not fixing it, he's just fixing the tube to the valve. May God keep us. I'll be right back after this break.
We must not lose sight of the fact that this tragic chain of events was set in motion by a cowardly act. A hit-and-run driver struck down Charles Emisa and fled the scene, leaving him for dead. I therefore call upon the Ghana Police Service to deploy every resource, every investigative technique, and every intelligence capable at their disposal to track down and apprehend this individual. I call on the Health Committee to be immediately empowered to summon the chief executive officers and heads of emergency units of the 3 hospitals involved.
So when we got there, my younger brother went in and drew their attention. They just told him, send him to another place. Speaker, it took my wife to tell them that the man lying in there is an MP. Then the rush in came. So the kernel of this issue sometimes is the discrimination by these professionals. We have overly concentrated our health facilities in Accra.
The most disappointing part is that no bed could simply mean that the staff are not willing to work. A shift is about to end and someone is not willing to admit a new patient and do all the documentation. So turn the patient away. No bed could mean that the doctor is afraid to work or is tired and feels that if he touch that patient and the patient pass away, duty of care is established legally because he has touched the patient. So see no evil. May I stand on this to appeal to my colleague health workers. Look at that next patient, that it could be you, it could be your father, it could be your mother. It doesn't have to be another doctor calling you before you create a bed. Our ambulance service, by their acts and by their function, may also need to be reviewed. Currently, they do scoop and run. What it means is, at an accident scene, they can pick you up, but they can't even set a simple IV line. I'll direct our committee on health to take all the reports that will come from the ministry.
The Ministry of Health is expected to issue guidelines to eliminate the unacceptable no-bed syndrome. Patients facing medical emergencies must be received and given help, if even under makeshift conditions. You don't need to have a comfortable bed to save a patient. No patient must be turned away from any health facility they report to. Mr. Speaker, but in the meantime, government will expand capacity by implementing the Rich Hospital Phase 2 project to increase the number of beds at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. We will also continue and complete the Police Hospital project, and also continue and complete the La General Hospital. Mr. Speaker, in the Ashanti region, we will complete the Sewa Regional Hospital. We will complete the Aferi Military Hospital, and we will complete the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital Maternity and Children's Block. Mr. Speaker, we remain on course to build a stronger, more resilient, and more self-reliant health system for all Ghanaians.
Welcome back from the break. Current Agenda is proudly sponsored by Bank of Africa and NPA. Bank of Africa says that if you are expecting to, as we are entering the Heritage Month, the month of our birth, if you intend to spend or enjoy in any way, the credit card from Bank of Africa would be your best companion. You can reach any of their bank branches or call them on 0302 429 333 and speak to any of their officers to get the credit card. You can also visit their website on www.boaghanainfo.com and engage Fafa. Remember that terms and conditions apply. NPA also says if you visited any gas or fuel station and you believe you were not treated with respect, if you had experienced customer service that is below standard, or if you believe that the quality of fuel served you is not right, or the quantity served you is not right, you have 48 hours to visit the NPA and make a complaint. You can visit their head office, which is along the N1 highway at Jowulu, or any of their regional offices. Customer service and customer care is at the heart of NPA. So please do well not to fight, nor argue with the people. Just go to any NPA office and make your complaint. Well, in studio, I have with me my panel seated to discuss the issues. I have to my extreme end, Kwame Owusu Danso Esquire. He's the president of the Accountability Forum and also a private legal practitioner. Kwame, good morning.
Good morning to you, Kojo, and let me seize this opportunity to extend my condolences to you and your family and the loss of the unfortunate loss of your mother.
Thank you.
We are with you in these very difficult times.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, next to Kwame is the MP from Chirimponi. Chirimponi. Okay, we've said Chirimponi. How is it spelled?
Chereponi.
Chirimponi. Okay, right. Seydou, yes, we want to say Chirimponi. Seydou Al-Hassan Alajo. Correct pronunciation?
That's correct.
Right. Honorable, good morning and welcome to the set. This is your first on this set?
First time on here.
Okay.
I'm grateful.
Right.
Let me add my voice to my colleague to wish you condolence
Thank
on
you.
your loss. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family.
Amen.
May the Lord strengthen you, and then in this difficult time, we are with you.
Thank you.
As a brother.
Thank you. And I hope my panel would take it easy on you today, since you are first year. They normally don't take it easy on first timers. Well, next to him is Austin Kwabena Brako Powers. He's also a private legal practitioner. Paris, good morning.
Hey.
You've called me Kwame today.
But I wanted to say something to Kwame, but could you before? So, I think this is. In fact, I even thought you will not be able to make it to the set, but you're a strong man, and we pray you continue to shepherd your family during this period. It's a trying moment. You get it, mothers. I know your relationship with your mother, a very close one. So this is more like you having your heart pierced by an arrow. You get it. So, but you are strong, and we pray the Lord, the good Lord, holds you.
Thank you. And then to my immediate left is a gentleman with a title. I hope one day I get same title, Prof. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Prof. Isaac Bodi, he's the Dean for the Faculty of Accounting and Finance at the UPSA, and also Director for Institute of Economic Research and Public Policy. Prof, good morning once again.
Good morning.
And welcome.
Yes, my good friend. I've just been told of the demise of your mother. And this morning you are saddled with two issues on, birth-related matters. And it's important I add my voice to that and say that, well, I extend my condolence to you. I hope you come through.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, so since we are talking of, everybody has said that, it's only fair that I have, my first topic is on this issue about that. So Honorable, I'll start with you. Since you are in Parliament, you heard the State of the Nation, you heard what the minority said, and then what the Speaker said, the proposal for a law on how to treat emergency cases. What's your general thought on this issue of the no-bed syndrome?
It's very sad. Kojo, that's right, right?
Yes.
Yes. First of all, good morning to our cherished listeners and then viewers, and also good morning to the people of Chereponi for voting for me to represent you in Parliament, and also through you, I'm here representing you as well. I'm most grateful and thank you for that. I take this very, very serious, representing you. This issue is a very serious one. First of all, I would like to send my condolence to the bereaved family. It's not easy to lose or to lose your son, more especially engineer, whom you have spent so much money abroad to train to come and serve your country. That person comes to serve the country, and suddenly you lose him so painfully.
We are showing pictures of the funeral. I understand it was done yesterday.
It's really, really sad. He doesn't deserve to die this way. We know we are all going to die one day, but we should die at the right time.
Yeah.
After fulfilling our God promise on earth, serving our people, our parents, our children, and our wife. All this, fulfilling all this obligation, and if God calls you or Allah calls you, I think everybody will, it's not going to be worrisome to the family. But at this stage, a very useful stage, 29 years, is very sad. It's very sad. So, watching the video and then the story, the statement my colleague read in Parliament, this no-bed syndrome must stop in Ghana. It is high time we stop it. It is high time we come out with laws to completely take it out from our health system. We have lost precious life. Precious life. Parents have lost their children, their sons, their daughters. Husbands have lost their wife through this. Children have lost their fathers, mothers. In Ghana, we are losing huge potentials. Our citizens are dying every day because of no bed. Sometimes it's not because there's no bed. It is due to negligence. Sometimes. Look, we have very fine doctors, health professionals in Ghana. well qualified, trained abroad and also trained in Ghana. But when you go to the hospitals, there are also some people who, when they are giving you the service to treat you, you come to them for treatment and they think they are doing you a service. A favor. They think they are doing a favor. You talk to them, the kind of looks they will give to you as a patient, your BP will rise immediately. I was in one of the hospitals a few weeks ago. I was there for almost 3 weeks with my spouse. I experienced that. I don't want to narrate everything, but what I saw, I confronted some of the health professionals on what I saw and what I believe was unethical. I confronted them. First, somebody was in a critical situation. I rushed her to the hospital. Instead of immediately paying attention, giving the person a first aid to sustain her until such time that the bed is ready, the patient was seated like the way we are seated on a chair. Seated like that. And a woman. So, one of the nurses I walked to her. We spent almost 5 hours. We were not having bed at the time. 5 hours seated. They were running around. I didn't know what they were doing. Later on, I told one of them, this is my wife, and I represent the people of Chereponi. I can't watch my wife in this kind of painful situation, and then I just don't know what you are doing. They said, we are doing our best. I said, I've not seen what you are doing and you are calling it your best. Your best is to look at the patient crying and wailing. It's not enough. Ghanaians deserve better. We truly deserve better in our health system. I'm so happy that Honorable Speaker, we call him Father, is suggesting or bringing up that suggestion that we should enact a law so that we can regulate some of the activities. How can somebody got knocked down by a car, a vehicle, rush to the hospital in ambulance? Then you have health professionals watching. You tell the person no bed. We have heard of stories that health professionals have been able to perform successful surgery under a tree. Yes, to save life. You don't need bed to save life sometimes. Yes, the government must do its best to supply beds, to build more hospitals, to train more professionals. But if you are a nurse or a doctor, it is your responsibility. You can't say because we don't have enough personnel that you allow a life to waste. You can't do that. So I believe that we have Ghanaians, we talk a lot. Today we are discussing it. We have discussed it in Parliament. The President has come to Parliament and has mentioned it. I believe in the President, I believe in the Speaker, that once and for all, we are going to find solution to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Viewers, I would want to apologize for the absence of Dr. Adumaku Kisi. He was supposed to be physically present with us this morning. Unfortunately, he had an emergency. He's a medical professional. He had an emergency and so could not come. However, I've been informed that he's online with us at the moment before he attends or he enters the theater to begin. And so I would want to take his view on this, especially because he is a medical professional. Honorable, good morning. Hello, Doc, can you hear me? Hello, Doc, can you hear me? Okay, once he gets through to me, I would get back to him. Pause. No bed. Hello, Doc. Hello?
Morning.
Yes, Doc, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, good morning. Hello? Okay, I'm having a bit of a technical challenge. Once it's sorted out, I would speak to him. Paris?
It's a sad day and a sad moment. I think I find it difficult sometimes when we have to repeat ourselves as a country, particularly when it has to do with some common basic things that we could just address within a year or two. Because this is not new. The low birth syndrome, in fact, manifests in two instances. The first is the denial of birth to poor people. Where, in cases where there are births and you are unable to afford that, sometimes they tell you to deposit some money before they take care of you. If you're unable to do that, you'll be denied birth. And if you are denied birth, it means that you don't have access to what? Care. That's the first instance. Now, the second instance is the denial of birth at the time of emergency. There is this attitude, new attitude of our health professionals. They say that when you engage in accidents such as maybe if you are hit by Okada, and those things, even when they have to attend to you, they won't mind you. You see, and it's troubling. Now, but you see, that's what I'm saying, that our government over the years have not helped matters. But I don't want us to box this conversation within the prism of the irresponsibility of our government. The bit about the attitude of our health professionals is troubling. If someone is in dire need of healthcare, and you say that because there is no bed, you are not going to attend to that person, that is so disappointing. And these are people, you want to articulate that these are people who are paid. Sometimes they even get money. Sometimes I wonder, when we pay money, when they are in school, we give money to these people for free. When others are...
Not just even a student loan, we are giving them nursing training allowances.
We give them allowances. When others are in tertiary schools and they are sourcing student loan, and then they will pay. We are giving you this free money. Just come and work. And the thing is that they are not even working for free. They are being paid at the end of the month. But it's attitude. Imagine they are running their own private institution. Do you think they will put up this attitude there? And funny enough, many of these people, they are running their own private facilities. And when you go there, the kind of services they provide to you is top notch.
And they are capable.
Yes. That's what I'm saying, is the attitude. And it fits into the broader conversation of how Ghanaians treat public institutions. Because this is a government institution. So I can do whatever I want. But when a private man sets up a facility and they employ you, you dare not put up this kind of attitude. You dare not. So we must use this opportunity to criticize the attitude of our health professionals. They are not helping matters. Honorable narrated the incident he had to face. In fact, if Honorable had been open to tell the viewers what exactly he went through, I think the conversation will take a broader outlook altogether. This is the question. Will the death of the engineer mark a watershed in the issue of this country when it comes to this problem? Are we not tired of repeating ourselves when it comes to matters that we could just address within a split of a second? Now, I'm asking myself, do we need any law? Do we need a law? In fact, do we need a law to cure this problem? Sometimes we end up saddling ourselves and tangling ourselves in difficulties. Ghana has so many laws. What has been the outcome? In fact, just walk a few meters away, you see people, residents dumping refuse in open drainage systems. We have laws prohibiting such attitudes. We have people openly defecating. some along the beaches, and some even in the bushes. We don't lack laws. So sometimes when we try to simplify the conversation that we need a law, do we need a law for the health professionals to do their work? Do we need any law for the health professionals to care for the ordinary Ghanaian who needs urgent medical attention? Sometimes let's stop simplifying conversations, because we are not helping the country. These are people who are working tirelessly to develop this country. They pay taxes. In fact, they are happy to pay their taxes. Yet when it comes to the work that our government must do for us, they are not doing it. I am saying that we have the laws. We have the laws. If you want to enact any other law when it comes to emergency care, then why not review the ones we have and put in provisions to tighten those laws? We have the Public Health Act. We have other laws. Why would you? In fact, when we are talking about the key health regulations in this country, we have a string of laws.
Okay. Please hold on. Let me just quickly engage Doc because I understand his sessions are 8 o'clock. Doc, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, my apologies. Good morning.
Good morning.
My panel, Kwame says when he meets you next time, he will forgive you for not coming.
I understand.
Anyway, Doc, so being a medical professional, in what or under what circumstance can a patient be denied treatment, especially somebody with an emergency case? Under what circumstance?
All right, so first of all, let me express my condolence to all those who have lost family members in similar circumstances. And let me say that it's deeply regrettable. And let me add that it is not just families that cry about this issue. We have many doctors who are very unhappy about trying to transfer a patient to a bigger institution and face challenges with regards to our bed situation. Let me also add that, the medical fraternity's attitude is one thing, but then there's a systemic issue that also needs to be looked at. And I stay in with the pain of many people because we, on the fringes, also have to transfer patients to the likes of 37, Kolebu, Rage, and others. And, let me admit that about a month ago, I had to drive my own patient to Rage because they said there was no bed. And I insisted that I had to go, and that was the only thing that saved my patient, that I had to go there personally. And I cry because how many doctors can leave their facility full of patients to a referral center? So we have a major issue. But let me also add that this is why when we were removing the COVID levy, I was livid in the sense that we have very serious health needs that we need funds for, which we, fail to acknowledge. The likes of Virginia Cemetery has a budget for the next 10 years. And we're here without a budget for our bed situation for the living. And this is a country where we're happy over sometimes a very unfortunate things. So all those at the studio, I've had some of them, and you can pile on the doctors, but let me also remind you that these are physicians who, some of them have not been paid for 10 months. okay, because of the system we run. And then let me tell you that in the life of Connecticut, there's a huge board handling patient discharges, just patient discharges, so that we ensure that those who are supposed to go home and make space for those who are coming in. What have we done? What are we doing with regards to patients who need to be discharged at Korle Bu or Range and cannot pay and are left on the bed, though they are well to leave, they are still there. That is not a doctor's issue or the nurse's issue. Social services, what are they doing? So let's look at it from all the various angles. Are we doing enough? Do we have hospices for people who are near death and need not necessarily be occupying beds for, people who are with, near emergency situations? I mean, these are the realities that, I think that we need to be discussing. I mean, what are our discharge plans in this country? People that should be allowed to go into, from Korle Bu to a district hospital for further care. What are we doing? I mean, these are the questions we ought to be asking. And let me admit, it is, very troubling that two doctors, in a way, have lost their brother. When they themselves are in the profession. And it is terrible. And I know that many clinicians feel terrible. And let me also admit that, without further ado, autopsy may reveal that no intervention may have saved the life. We have to also look at that. But either way, we have a crisis, and we've unplugged the lifeline for healthcare in this country. And when I say the lifeline, healthcare is expensive. And I think that our attention should be, refocused on the fact that we are underserving our country's health infrastructure and health personnel. And all those who cheered on with the removal of the levy for healthcare, and I say this with the greatest of respect, that listen, the consolidated fund that takes in money works in the fungible way, in the sense that though many funds are labeled energy and all of these things, when they come in, it's not 100% that goes to energy or health. But then, when you get enough, you can replenish your ambulance fleet. Many of our ambulances, as we speak, have no oxygen canisters. And we are here, we're talking. These are the realities of the ground. And if a doctor is ready to attend to a patient needing oxygen and there's no oxygen, how does he proceed? I've had to transfer people to a bigger institution simply because they would need to be on oxygen for a week. You'd call Korle Bu, they'll tell you our oxygen tanks are empty. What do you do? I mean, these are the troubling realities. And we all sit down and we find it easy to blame the human element, the doctors. But healthcare is complex. It's not just the doctor in theater or the doctor at the desk. There are decisions, series of decisions leading to the patient coming to sit in front of the doctor. And my biggest concern today, one, even on weekends, if you are not careful, if you get sick on a weekend, many institutions in this country, the senior colleagues, this one they should forgive me, do not necessarily work on weekends. What are the arrangements? So Kojo and KOD and the panel, we all better not get sick on a weekend, especially Friday night up to Sunday night. And these are troubling things that we need a systemic approach. But in concluding, we need to proffer solutions. And I think that, private individuals and maybe there's a need for a second Ghana Health Services. Government needs to create some level of competition. SHAG is doing well. It's quasi-government. They do better, honestly. So I don't know where there's competition. Ghana Commercial Bank was in, a whole different state until the EcoBank came. And maybe we need to, reinfuse some level of competition within the healthcare industry and vary how we're doing things. And if I should share my messages with the likes of the current health minister, I pleaded that, listen, we need to extend Korle Bu beyond the physical location of Korle Bu. The clinicians need to be satellite in various communities. And for that matter, should RAGE or Korle Bu adopt any of the Agenda 111, and this is not political, should Korle Bu adopt 2 Agenda 111 in the entire Accra, people will have better access. Should RAGE adopt 2 existing Agenda 111, people will have better access. And this is how we should be thinking about these things, because I'm wondering, I didn't want to RAGE, which the president stated yesterday, is still that one location. If somebody is at Nsawam and are Korle Bu trained specialists at Nsawam, why would they travel from Nsawam to RAGE? Or Kaswa to RAGE? That should be our thinking. And mind you, you can get into an accident somewhere in Nsawam, and that commute, you don't make it to Korle Bu. So, but if you have accident center trained the trauma clinicians at Nsawam working under the administration of Korle Bu, fantastic. And this is what is in many jurisdictions where the teaching hospitals have satellite locations within the entire country. And if Komfo has pockets of Komfo, and it's agreed upon that these doctors are from there, they are recognized. I mean, people have 100,000 doctors sitting at one location. Why do we do this to ourselves as a country? Any day at Korle Bu, there are 30 consultants who may not even have room to operate those things because of how we structured the delivery of care in this country. So these are things that need to be looked at so that we do a disruption of the health industry, and certainly we need serious decisions about our health care, and we need not wait for incidents like this. We'll talk like the flood situation in this country. We'll talk plain tea. Rain will come again next month, and then we'll talk again. I think that our planning and maintenance and way of doing things for this country needs to change. And like I said, the budget for the cemetery of VA for 10 years is there, and we are here. We don't even have a budget for the living, and it is troubling. And we all of us who are saying no way for the removal of the COVID levy. Sorry for me to use this word, but shame on you. We certainly have health conditions and needs, and shame on all of us who were jumping high. I questioned. I said, listen, in all truthfulness, even if the fund was misappropriated under one administration, there's a new administration. Do you need to remove it? No. You can hopefully manage it better. So why remove it? And these are two of the ridiculous things we do to ourselves. in this country.
Okay, Doc. Thank you very much. We share in your some aspects of your address. We wish you were in studio with us so we can deliberate this further, but we understand your situation. Thank you for sparing us some time this morning, and we wish you all the best as you enter to attend to the emergency situation.
I owe you a sitting. I'm sorry about today, but I will make it up to you. And I think that I'll plead with your producers. Give me one full, show to go into this matter, because this low bed syndrome thing is sickening to the bone and needs to be fully exhausted. And like I said, as I sign off, how we discharge people home needs to be looked at, because there are so many people, on beds that are still there because of either they just haven't paid their funds to go home. Not that they are not well, they are well, but they can't pay. So these are things that can be looked at urgently.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. So my producer would continue to engage you, and I think, yes, it will be fruitful to have a one-on-one discussion on this so we can get to understand it from all the angles, because I believe it's also multifaceted, and so we cannot heap the blame on only one angle. Thank you, Doc. Powers.
So I maintain that there's no need for any new law, because the Speaker's suggestion, though good, it amounts to an oversimplification of the entire issue, because the law will not solve any problem if we don't address the attitudes of our health professionals. If government will not retool our health institutions. In fact, data has it that most of our tertiary health facilities are overwhelmed. Korle Bu and Reach are operating at 99.7% capacity, often with no room for emergency situations. I think government knows what to do to address this problem. The Agenda 111 hospitals must be one of the focuses of this government. Let's not leave those structures to gather dust in the forest. We need to upgrade those facilities. Agenda 111. These are structures constructed using state or public funds. We cannot say that because it was started by one political party, an opposing political party, so the current government will ignore them. We need to upgrade those facilities, get them working. Right. So, I am saying that let us not simplify the conversation. The government knows what to do. The issues are multifaceted. Government glossing over its basic responsibility, poor attitude of health professionals, and our tertiary institutions are stretched. So I agree that this is fatal, persistent, and a growing crisis. Let us nip this issue in the bud once and for all. Do the right thing. Let's move forward.
Kwame, there's a research that was done by, I think, Reach Alliance. It was a collaboration between Ashesi and University of Toronto. And this issue about referral, which discharge, which Doc mentioned, was one of the reasons they cited as the causes of this low bed syndrome, where people have been treated, they are well, but they cannot afford to pay. And because our social welfare system too is not properly managed, so these people keep sleeping there, accruing more bills, and they never leave, and they have occupied beds. Some of them even, sometimes they take them from the bed, put them on the floor. I mean, there are videos that we'll be showing sitting on the floor with their things by their side. Nobody is allowing them to leave, and they keep crowding the place. And so, together, I'm saying this because of, yes, accountability for it, but together, how do we get this properly situated so that we can move away from this?
I think, well, first of all, let me extend my greetings to our viewers and to say a big thank you to them. I love the criticisms and I love the support. It enriches the show. And to also say that Yes, Dr. Adwakisi was right. Yes, the research may be right. But I think the true definition of what the no-bed syndrome is what was amplified on the floor of Parliament by my very good friend Titus Bayo. He sought to categorize it and looked at it from those perspectives. And I want to urge or encourage all our viewers, if you have not listened to that speech or that presentation on the floor of Parliament, to go and listen. And perhaps that will also guide us going forward. He sought to look at it from different perspectives and said that one, it could be that genuinely there are no beds. Or that the other one is that there may not be a doctor available. The third one is that maybe there are no nurses or somebody's shift has ended. So they are scared to, the duty of care and things like that. So they are scared to admit the patient, and that if you touch the patient and the patient dies, you will be found culpable for negligence. And so people would want to just simply stay away. They don't want to touch the patient. And then a multiplicity of others. One thing that struck me in his presentation was his position on the ambulance system and the fact that even if there's any emergency situation and the ambulance comes in, they don't have paramedics in there to even insert a simple line. Yes, a simple line. So that for me was very profound, profound not in the positive sense, but profound as in the surprising sense that in 2026, the ambulance system that we have doesn't have, yes, it's surprising.
Ambulances came. They were grounded for almost a year because we were told that they were training people.
We too.
So you were ready to,
yes.
Was it drivers?
Have no, your guess is as good as mine. Your confusion finds expression. I really and truly do not understand what we did. But that is at the heart of the conversation, because for most emergency situations, you need an ambulance. Mostly, in most cases, ambulance would have to be called in. They will pick the patient, and then they will take the patient to the hospitals. What they need to do is that they need to give the patient first aid. If they are unable to do that, the patient is as good as dead, because that is the first point of contact. And as a nation, we have been so negligent to the point where we don't even have some of these basic things in our ambulances. Number two is also what I think Honorable touched on briefly, but didn't go into great detail when he spoke about the fact that there should be some, I don't know whether it's Bracken or Honorable, but when he spoke about the fact that there must be a direct communication between the ambulance system and the hospitals. You mentioned it. Now, I remember quite vividly having a conversation with the Director General of Ghana Health Service, and we were having this intercourse on the way forward in improving health delivery systems in Ghana. I do recall this conversation very well. And I suggested to them that then why don't we make Ghana Health Service more like as the umbrella sort of institution that will ensure that all the hospitals in Ghana are under its umbrella, so that they will be able to make
the word umbrella.
Yes. So that they will ensure the distribution channels. Do you understand? So for instance, if I have an emergency situation and then I call Ghana Health Service, maybe operational line, they will direct an ambulance to me and then direct the ambulance to the nearest hospital. Do you understand? So we zone it. So within this particular zone, the Ghana Health Service professionals will be there. The people who are in charge of maybe the customer care or whatever it is, they will receive the calls, and then they will direct the ambulance to you, and also direct the ambulance to the nearest hospital. And if the nearest hospital does not have a bed, what is the alternative? So I suggested that to him. He bought into the idea, but then there was a challenge, because the management of health systems or health delivery in Ghana is not only done by Ghana Health Service. I think there are also other independent bodies so that was the confusion. That yes, he likes the concept, but the execution will be challenged by reason of what I have spoken to you about. But maybe they need to look at that. Maybe the ministry itself has to take it upon itself to ensure that it has those conversations with the health delivery agencies in this country so that we can bring finality to this. So that before I even move from my home, I can place a call, I'll be directed to the next, the available, the hospital that has, that is ready to receive me, because it can be done. The reason why I'm saying it can be done is because there was a submission of floor of parliament where a member of parliament had indicated that usually they have to place the calls to the hospitals before the hospitals provide the service that they must provide for the citizenry. So it means that if somebody higher up is able to place a call, you can be saved. Similarly, if we have institutions that are supposed to ensure that they place calls to the hospitals, that they ensure that the initial preliminary things are done even before the patient gets to the hospital, then I think that we'll be making a headway. Now, it is important, Kojo, that we look at the deficiencies that we have. And clearly, I mean, one of the things that I spoke about in my initial submission was that, admittedly, we have genuine no-bed issue, right? And so if you look at the World Health Organization's report, it indicates that generally we're supposed to have 5 beds to 1,000 patients. Ghana is now trailing at 0.9 beds. Yeah, not even one. So that is a challenge. But I to 1,000. But I really respectfully, I may be ignorant in this subject area. I may be an illiterate in this subject area. But I beg to ask this harmless question: that what do we need to create beds? I want to understand. I want to understand it. Can't we have the basics, and then if we have to import some other things to augment that which we have created, that we'll be able to do that. That we have very experienced welders in this country, for instance, who can be contracted to provide the initial setup, welding of the beds, and then if there are some other things that we would need to ensure that it's a full-fledged bed for the purposes of providing health delivery, then we can contract others to procure those ones to augment that which has been done by. So I don't know whether that can also be a solution, that we can perhaps, we can perhaps look at that and consider that option. I don't know. I'm just asking.
That's always been a question I ask myself.
Yes.
That so all this education we have, Prof, no disrespect to you, all this education we have, what are we using it for? Because we have a University of, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, who have engineers who are into metallurgy, who are studying all this thing about production and all. Can't we do this? We have technical polytechnics and non-technical universities.
Absolutely, and I agree with you 100% on that. Maybe we must explore that option and see whether we can get, a lot of them provide these services to the good people of this country. Then I come to the point that you make, brilliantly so, in respect of the conduct of some health professionals in this country, which also finds expression in the rigid position taken by my very good friend Braco Powers. And I agree on all fours with both submissions. Look, why are you in banking? This is something that you love. I was given an opportunity to go to training college. I did not go because I am not cut for it. I can't teach at the basic level. I can't do it. So even though I gained admission to a training college, I had also applied to Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and read sociology. That is what I wanted to do. And I knew when I was growing up that I wanted to become a lawyer. Right from senior secondary school, in all my books, I had written lawyer Kwame Usudanso. All my books. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I knew where I was going. My father became a police officer not because he was unable to get what he wanted to do, but because he genuinely wanted to be a police officer. The question then becomes, these doctors, some of these nurses, is it what they truly want to do? Or that by reason of some circumstance, they have found themselves in the practice? Because if you are genuinely ordained to become a nurse, which is a calling, to become a doctor, which is a calling, I am not sure you will watch your fellow human being and to say that because to you, there are no beds, you will not attend to that patient. Because your conscience will not allow you to do that. So I'm saying that perhaps we should also really look at some of these things, how people are enrolled People are going into police service, people are going into fire service, people are joining the military, not because it is what they truly want. Teaching. People are becoming nurses. It is not because that is what they want. It is because it is a means to a certain end. Most of them become nurses, not because they want to serve this country, because that is an opportunity for them to travel out and go and make better money elsewhere. That is why most of them join these professions. It's not because they are committed to delivering a certain service for the betterment of this country. Kojo, it saddens me and it breaks my heart that as a young person like me, Kojo, we are all, as you are seated here, you are serving Mother Ghana in this capacity. Your expectation would be that when you are in need of the service of Ghana, Ghana will be there for you. That is it. So for as young people, as older people like Prof, he is delivering a certain quality service to the good people of this country. So God forbid that tomorrow, God forbid, touch wood, that if he's unwell and he goes to the hospital, that service that he's rendered, they must have an equal measure. That is the point I'm making. So I'm saying that it sometimes breaks my heart, and that is why people are not so committed to serving Ghana, because when they need Ghana to be there for them, Ghana is always not there for them. That's a problem. Now, I do know, Kojo, and you see what you said there, I was listening to you very carefully. I was quiet, I was very attentive. Today I was not playing with Braco, because this is a very sensitive matter. Yeah. Extremely sensitive. We've all had our experiences, all of us, both in the urban and peri-urban areas, and even in the rural communities. But you see, the only reason why this has become a subject matter of conversation is because of the person involved. Go to our communities, go to our villages. Our mothers are dying by reason of a simple snake bite. Somebody died because they do not have, the medicine to, I don't know how you people call it, the snake bite. They don't have it. So somebody will just simply die because of that, Kojo. Somebody dies because of tetanus. That he went to the farm, was weeding, the cutlass cuts the person goes to the hospital, they don't even have any, So it is a much bigger conversation. I agree that we have made some giant strides in that, because if you recall, in 2017, we had a bed deficiency of 200. I think at the time, the bed, we had about 200 beds at Rich, for instance. Around 2017, they increased it to 420, which is good. But my point is that what did the subsequent administration do to ensure sustainability? You see my problem? So please, enough of the rhetoric. It's too much. People are losing their lives. It's too much. Young people who have gone and studied, oftentimes, like you rightly said, they would rather want to stay abroad, because even the conditions of service are better. They have all that they want. They don't have they wouldn't be stressed and all of that. People come down to come and contribute to the development of this country, and then they are being killed. Really, this is murder by reason of our inability to exercise our obligations towards these people. It is sad. It is extremely sad, and I don't want to recount some of the things I have had to deal with, because I'm getting emotional. It is sad. If you know what we go through on a daily, that if you don't know some honorable somewhere, that if your father is not some minister that you can call to call the hospital, that if you are not related to a medical professional, you will die. You will die.
I think it was in 2021. Somebody very close to me was involved in an accident, very close to me. And we went to a hospital along the Wija Kaswa road. And they attended to the person, first aid, whatever it is. And when they go to, they had to refer the person to Rich at the time. When the hospital called, they were told that there was no bed. We sat in an ambulance. I said we would go. We got there, we parked out there. They said there was no bed. Then I remembered one of my colleagues' wife was the one in charge at Rich. So I called him and he called the wife. There was a bed.
So the question is why? You get the point. The question is why. In conclusion, because I know that you have to go to Prof and perhaps touch on the state of the nation again. But in conclusion, Kojo, I just want to appeal that, and again, I agree with Braco. We have enough laws. And sometimes it's not just about having the laws in place. It's also about ensuring that people are accountable. Accountability always eludes us when it comes to some of these people. Look, if doctors are not paid, you see what they do in town. If nurses are not paid, you see what they do in town. We need to begin to sue hospitals. We need to begin to sue doctors. We need to begin to sue nurses who are negligent in offering their services to people, and then they will learn. Because that is how we can shape this whole health delivery system in this country. All of these rhetorics.
You know what will happen?
It won't happen.
The next day, you see your pastor at your door or your imam at your door coming to tell you that, God gives and God takes.
You know, let me say this, and again, Ghana is going to be 69 years in just some few days. Are you not disappointed, or would you not be disappointed if your grandfather were 60 or your father was 69 years and still unable to take certain very important decisions? Wouldn't you be disappointed?
On that note,
no. I'm just trying to explain. I'm just trying to look at, because you see, this Ghana that we all have.
Yes,
it's a Ghana that is supposed to play a certain important role in the lives of all of us. Yes. And you see, when we come to President Mahama says something profoundly so, when he sought to interconnect the importance of Ghana and that of the
continent,
sub-region, that the Accra reset is supposed to have a certain interface with the general conversation or the bigger conversation of having an Africa that works.
Yeah.
So Ghana is well placed. When we say Ghana is the gateway to West Africa, it is not just in the West. It is also in the things that we have been able to do as a country, and the things that we can, if we are intentional, do for the betterment of all of us. Okay. In concluding, simply want to plead that this thing about political rhetorics, political blame games ought to stop. There are 5 important pillars that ought to be dealt with apolitically in the event that a matter comes up. One is health. All of us must be united in ensuring that we proffer solutions that will help the good people of Ghana when it comes to the issue of health, Kojo. Health, energy, youth unemployment, education, and the last one is agriculture.
Right.
All of us must be united.
Thank you.
To have those unpalatable but progressive conversations that will ensure that the forward march of this country is achieved.
Right. Thank you, Kwame. My team has a video on the speech we were talking about in Parliament. I'll let them play it, but I'll let Prof make his submission. After that video, they'll move to the next topic. Prof, so 9 years after pension age, that's Ghana's age now. If Ghana was an employee, he would have gone on retirement 9 years ago. And at the age of 69, this is what we are discussing.
It's sad, but let me greet your viewers and my good friends as well. It's the first time meeting Honorable and then my good friend. But Kwame, we know ourselves, so it's on friendly levels now. Right, it's a sad story. And often we hear people say, I share in your pain, share in your grief, your situation. If you have not been there before, this will be rhetoric. You don't feel it. You don't understand it until you find yourself in that situation. Then you understand. A family or a mother gives birth to a child, raise the child, secondary school, university, travel outside, comes back, and meets an untimely death like this. So sad. And today, we sit and we talk about this. Sometimes when you talk at this level, you're only preaching to the choir. That's what I think. Because we go back, the next 2 days, life continues. So we don't even know what to say. So sad. And I must also say that we have qualified personnel, qualified doctors as well, qualified nurses as well, in our various hospitals and facilities. And they do so well. Sometimes you have a doctor who attends to a client in the morning, a patient. In the afternoon, he's called. In the evening, sometime in the middle of the night, a call is given and must leave the family and attend to this patients. Sometimes they sleep over. You get to the hospital, sometimes they are tired. They don't even know what to do. Some of these health professionals sometimes use their own money. And so they pay for the client, the patient. So we can understand that sometimes they're overwhelmed. Even sometimes the equipment they use, sometimes they improvise. And sometimes they don't complain. And you see, in academia and professionals, sometimes they hardly want people to know their problems. Medical field, sometimes they are quiet. You don't even hear their crisis or their problems. They work because they are there to save life. But let's change the conversation a bit. There are some of the people over there, they are not supposed to be there. And I share the submission of my good brother. Sometimes I go to the hospital, you see them on their phone.
Yeah, a lot. Some are even creating content.
The way they talk to you, I mean, you have more BP, you have more problems.
You have more BP, I like that.
You know, the way they talk to you. So the doctor, the way they talk to you, my brother. So we have a difficult situation on our hand now. I am sure Ghanaians, we are not angry enough on two issues: health matters and environmental issues. I have been on the other platforms and I've said that the ministries Kwame mentioned, agric, health, education, and the rest, we should not even give to politicians to manage. We should, I don't know how we can manage that. Because we mask. And sometimes when you're talking about this, they box you into a political arena. NDC, MPP, the matter goes to rest. Nothing will be done. Is it the first time talking about this? And it's because of the caliber of the person and the consideration. That is what is being amplified. And it's a sad story. When I heard the story, I said, a country that exports gold and cocoa, we can't allow someone to die because cannot provide for oxygen. We cannot put money there to take care of someone. No money, no cure. A country that exports gold and cocoa, we cannot take care of our citizens like this way. It's so sad to lose such a person at this stage. But when I heard on the floor that they are going to enact laws, I mean, pass a bill or whatever, we shouldn't get there. I mean, Ghana Health Service, they have a law. I think Act 1993 or so, that you cannot pay money in advance for your health. You must be taken care of before we act. So we have all the laws available. We have. Why do you spend time to pass another law on how to take care of emergency? So Ghana, emergency is not about statistics. No. Other countries, we are talking about how many people were recorded and all that. Here, it is about a mother bleeding to death after childbirth. A victim on Accra Highway that we cannot transport. And sometimes you sit in your car and you're going, hear traffic, and then hear a sound of a taxi. And sometimes the taxi driver will get out of the car and come and plead with people, please give us some way for us to transport this patient. No ambulance, nothing. So I don't know whether we are serious as a country or we are not serious. It's difficult to find out. Because after this, we share sentiment. We groan. We have pains. We express them.
Let me
we'll go back to sleep.
So as I mentioned earlier, we will be telecasting live the commemoration of the 28th February at the, I think at the Nationalism Park, if I'm correct. So GTV will be telecasting it live. So we will be continuing current agenda on GBC News, but GTV will be telecasting it live. So we will be off GTV whilst it telecasts, but then you can get us live on GBC News. Thank you. So now we can continue.
Yeah, so I want to end on this note that a country, we must be serious. We are past that age of retirement.
Honoring our departed comrades by bearing the wreaths that will be laid in the spirit of remembrance are Sergeant Boabin Apia Linda, Leading Aircraftman Adoma Rachel, Aircraftman Class 1 Nyanta Esther, Aircraftman Class 1 Nikwe Grace, Aircraftman Class 1 Darko Gifty, and Aircraftman Class 1 Ando Joanna. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I respectfully acknowledge the presence of the Chief of the Defense Staff, Lieutenant General William Ejepong, the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete Yohunu, and the Deputy Defense Minister, Honorable Ernest Broja.
For the Gold Coast transformation into the first African colony to gain independence, officially becoming Ghana on March 6, 1957. On this day, documented Ghana celebrates Sergeant Ajeti Okpara Atiku and Private Odati Lamte. The 28th February round. The Accra round erupted on February 28, 1948. The unrest stemmed from a protest march led by ex-servicemen, veterans of World War II, who were demanding their rightful benefits. The peaceful demonstration was forcibly dispersed by the police, resulting in the tragic killing of 3 leaders, Sergeants Ni Ajeti, Corporal Patrick Atiku, and Private Odati Lamte by Superintendent Emery. This incident symbolizes the culmination of discontent and serves as a catalyst for the Gold Coast transformation into the first African colony to gain independence, officially becoming Ghana on March 6, 1957. On this day, documenting Ghana celebrates Sergeant Ajeti Corporal Atiku and Private Odati Lamte. The 28th
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I respectfully acknowledge the arrival of the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Her Excellency Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, who is here to lead today's commemoration on behalf of the government and people of Ghana. Shall we kindly rise to acknowledge her and remain standing for the national salute? All personnel in uniform are kindly reminded to salute.
Show hands! Raise! National salute! Raise!
The parade commander will seek permission from Her Excellency to begin the parade.
Good morning, Your Excellency. 78th anniversary of the 28th February Christiansborg Crossroads incident parade formed up. 5 officers, 143 men and women drawn from the Ghana Army, the Ghana Navy, the Ghana Air Force, and the Ghana Police Service, with the Air Force regimental band on parade ready for the commencement of the ceremony. Wing Commander Christian Benson reporting. Your Excellency.
We shall now observe the Bugle Call, a traditional military signal inviting veterans to take their place on parade, an honor reserved for those who have served the nation with distinction.
Attention! Everyone, quick! March! That's right.
To the Republic. Prayers will now be offered in the Christian and Muslim traditions, invoking divine guidance, peace and eternal rest for the departed heroes whose memory we honor today. May I invite the chaplain, Lieutenant Colonel Cynthia Kumiche, and the Imam, Captain Mohammed Abubakar, to offer the opening prayers.
Shall we please pray? We pray in the name of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Lord Almighty, bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. Instill in us the spirit of patriotism and courage to uphold and defend the good name of Ghana. In memorial of Sergeant Ajete, Corporal Atipo, Private Odate Lamte, we perform this ceremony and in remembrance of their sacrifice, service, and courage which led to our liberation and change in national policy. Lord, grant them eternal rest and peace. Protect and provide for their families. Watch over our gallant veterans and all retired security personnel. Keep them well in good health with long life, and resource the government to cater for their needs. As a nation, unite us to live in love, patiently embracing our individual differences, and to stand for the truth by fighting against injustice. And may the beginning, continuation, and end of 78th anniversary 28th February Crossroads shooting incident remain under God's guidance and blessings. Amen.
Amen.
We continue to pray. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, most merciful, as we gather here in solemn remembrance of the sacrifices of these defenseless citizens of our dear nation, who stood for freedom, justice, and human dignity, we pray that may their souls rest in your divine care. May their sacrifices continue to inspire national unity, strengthen our commitment to justice, dignity, and the responsible stewardship of freedom. Ya Allah, we continue to pray that you bless this ceremony, bless the leaders and entire citizenry of our dear nation, Ghana, and make her greater and stronger. اللهم اجعل ذكراهم خالدة في قلوبنا وامنح أهلهم والمواطن الغاني الصبر والسلوان واجعل هذا اليوم فرصة لتجديد عهدنا بالوفاء لهم وللوطن. اللهم اجعل بلدنا غانا بلدا آمنا مطمئنا ووفقنا لخدمته وبناء مستقبل سامي له إنك على ذلك لقدير يا أرحم الراحمين. وصل اللهم وسلم على مصطفى محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين.
Amen.
Many thanks to the chaplain and imam for offering the opening prayers. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I once again acknowledge the arrival of Her Excellency Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. May I also acknowledge the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Madam Linda Ohenewa Akwele Oklu, the Deputy Minister for Defense, Honorable Ernest Broja Jemfi, the Chief of the Defense Staff, Lieutenant General William Ejipong, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Christian Tete Yohunu, the Chief of the Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Livinus Bessing, the General Officer commanding the Central Command, Brigadier General Painting, Southern Command, Brigadier General Painsil. He is representing the Chief of the Army Staff. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to provide some insight into the background of the solemn event we commemorate today, may I respectfully invite Brigadier General Seydou Adams, retired.
An abridged history of 28th February Crossroad shooting incident. The 28th February Christiansborg Crossroad shooting incident is celebrated every year on this very date to honor the defenseless ex-servicemen who in 1948 were killed by the colonial police while marching peacefully to the Osu Castle to present a petition to the then governor. During the Second World War, soldiers of the Gold Coast Regiment of the Royal West African Frontier Force fought alongside the Allied forces. At the end of the war, there was increased agitation by anti-colonial movements for independence for colonies in Southeast Asia and Africa. The war veterans who had fought so gallantly and had received high commendation were demobilized at the end of the war and paid a pittance by way of war gratuity. The ex-servicemen were naturally not happy with the gratuity. They thought the British government, which then ruled the Gold Coast, would, in appreciation of the sacrifices they had made, pay gratuities in the right proportions to those sacrifices. In addition to this, several appeals made by the ex-servicemen to the authorities fell on deaf ears. After a period of waiting for reasonable war benefits to be paid, which were not forthcoming, the ex-servicemen decided that a direct approach should be made to the British governor and Commander-in-Chief of the Gold Coast Regiment, Sir Gerard Christie. On Saturday, 28 February 1948, before noon, a number of unarmed ex-servicemen were on a march from Accra to the Christiansborg Castle to present a petition to the governor and the commander-in-chief when they were intercepted at the Christiansborg Crossroads by a contingent of armed policemen led by a British superintendent, Mr. Imre. The superintendent ordered the ex-servicemen to disperse. When his orders were disobeyed, he gave another order to the police to open fire on the armless ex-servicemen. When this second order was not complied with, Mr. Imre himself fired at the ex-servicemen, killing Sergeant Ajete, Corporal Atipo, and Private Odate Lamte. The news about the death of the gallant ex-servicemen spread rapidly, leading to a situation where law and order broke down in Accra and other parts of the country. This encouraged anti-colonial movement to press the British government to institute a committee to investigate the killings and general disorder in the country. The committee recommended a self-government for the Gold Coast. This subsequently led to the attainment of political independence for our country, Ghana, in March 1957.
Thank you very much, sir. We just heard from Brigadier General Seydou Mumuni Adams, retired, the Executive Director, Veterans Administration, Ghana. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we shall now observe the Veterans Administration Ghana roll call. A symbolic act of remembrance, calling the names of those who served and honoring those who made the ultimate sacrifice.
The roll call. 174145 001 Samuel Karkari. 176686 001 Moses Asib. GC 36098 Sergeant Ajete. GC 36098 Sergeant Ajete. GC 36098 Sergeant Ajete.
Absent, sir.
178958 001 Hans Opokuware. 1793336 001 Atinga Cosmos. GC 27819 Corporal Atipo. GC 27819 Corporal Atipo. GC 27819 Corporal Atipo.
Answer, sir.
181885 001 Kwame Safo James. 172950 Corporal Enes Odekwe. GC 37209 Private Odate Lamte. GC 37
And if you look at the industry, yes, there's so much pressure. The industry is not growing. The manufacturing is still crawling. So it tells you we still have other issues. We are not saying the government should solve all the problems that we have in the country in a day. But if you understood from the beginning the posture when they have been out of office for 8 years, and then the policy they wanted to change out there, I think the movement or the rates of this implementation of such policies, I mean, they are lacking. Then we also look at something on 24-hour economy. So I'm picking them thematically. 24-hour economy. The president said the 24-hour authority bill is the law signed by him. They are to roll out 110 million allocated to boost productivity and create jobs. In fact, that happens to be the flagship of this administration. If they cannot do anything, I'm sure that policy alone should work. Yes, it's been in the room, receiving all the treatments. Finally, a law to support it is passed. We had the pomp, the pageantry, the president signed, was all over the media, giving investors our confidence. But look, you are to give a capital outlay of 110 million. In fact, it's modest relative to structural deficiencies that we have in our country, electricity and the rest. If you compare this amount, 110 million, relative to the structural issues we have in our country, then we have a problem. And as whether this will see the day of light, we don't need to be prophet of doom, no. But we are looking at numbers. We peruse data and numbers. You know, I have had issues with this whole policy, that if you look at this, how it's been documented, nicely packaged, the wisdom, the idea behind this initiative, well spelled out, good. But if you subject the policy into a proper analysis, measurement-wise, you ask a lot of questions, key questions. Which specific sector are we focusing on? And now they keep changing the narratives all the time. We understood from the beginning that the government was the one to drive that agenda. Then we have some of the ministers who also came out to say that no, it will be driven by the individual, the private have will drive, because they will give the enabling grounds or the environment for you to push your agenda. Meaning that they'll have to give incentives and ensure that people understand this policy and drive. But now we have a figure this, I think it's woefully, for me, is inadequate, given the structural defects that we have in our country. There was something on infrastructure and connectivity. Infrastructure and connectivity. Right. The government, the president said, a major 50 billion big push for 50 new major roads projects, completing 23 inherited ones. All right. The government plans to raise 10 billion via industry board, infrastructure board, bond. That's what they want to raise, 10 billion. Out of 50, they raise 10 from infrastructure board. But I think it's also unclear how the remaining 40 will be financed. I don't know. Without affecting IMF program and plans. So 50 billion, you're going to raise 10 through infrastructure bond. Even that one is debatable. As whether the government will be attractive at that stage to be able to raise is another thing we can subject. So a big push, a big project, and 40 of that amount will be financed. We don't know how it's going to be financed. It's a bit an issue that we have to consider, you know. Then there was something on energy sector. I think energy sector, I don't want to even go there. We understand where we are coming from. Government is making an effort to make payments of the previous arrears that we have. But you see, I say that sometimes we are told that the government spends so much money cleaning out the mess of the previous administration. But for me, you inherit asset, you inherit liability. Whether you complain, you don't complain. The point is that is why they kick the old administration out. So when you come, you only tell us the problem you found within 1 year or so you don't spend 2 years lamenting and complaining. That's my big problem. If you spend 6 months to tell the whole nation what you inherited, which accountability is fine. That's what every administration they do. But beyond 6 months, we don't want to hear complaints. Right. You should be able to fix what you have were left to you. So issue on healthcare, and you talked about human capital. There was something on anti-corruption and governance. The Yoko, they've recovered how much? I think it was 600 million or so. The Yoko, they've recovered. I think active prosecutions underway. For me, it was fantastic that funds that people have, found different ways and embezzle. To be able to come back to the kitty for us to use. But you see, there's one thing showing that commitment. If those high-profile cases are not prosecuted, you can't go to sleep. 600 million. If you just support this to the oral statement that we have almost 20-something million to recover, we have 600. They should prosecute the high-profile cases so that we know. So the SONA, yes, for me, is a usual practice of every administration. That I think in February or so, you are allowed to give an account of your stewardship to the entire country. But when it gets to a stage, we should be able to move away from slogans or speeches and rather give performance reports of an administration. And that's what I expect to see. Right.
Okay. Thank you. Guess how many minutes you did? 20. Yes. So, and I'm sure you still have more you would have to say. Exactly. Anyway, Honorable, I'll come to you because you are from Parliament, so I'm sure you were wearing white, I guess. Yeah. Yes. So you heard. So let me hear from you. Then I'll go to Kwame and then Powers.
Yeah. Thank you. I have to say that the president did what is constitutionally mandated to do by fulfilling his mandate of presenting the real state of the nation address to Parliament. And yesterday was one of those. It wasn't a rhetoric, it was a real state of the nation. The figures that the president spoke about, they are real figures. When you ask the market women, they will tell you that they will feel the same way what the president said. Yes, at Cherpony. The market women at Kasua will say the same thing. Really? Yes. Last year, or let me say 2024, I am a first-timer. Throughout the campaign, my boys in Cherpony, they fueled their motorbikes to campaign for me. Fuel price was almost in Cherpony at 20 Ghana Cedi. 2024, we bought fuel 1 liter, almost 20 Ghana Cedi. Here was about 17. So today, as we speak, how much is the fuel price at the pump? A bit over 10 cedis. Yes. We inherited economy of, I would say, a junk economy.
Diesel is 11, petrol is 4.
Yes. That is the real figure. At the time we took over from office, the cedi was how much to the dollar? 17. Some places you can even get it 15, 16, 17, depending on the abuchi that you go to. Yes. Today, how much is the cedi to the dollar? we have 10 point, less than 11. Yes. So these are things that the president spoke about. Inflation, the GDP, the actual confidence of investors on the economy. So I would say that what we heard is actually what Ghanaians are feeling in their pocket. Today, somebody will say, yes, the fuel price has reduced, but fares are still the same. The truck drivers still charge the same price. It's not true, not everywhere. I remember last year, I bought a bag of rice and sugar. The sugar cost me, one bag was 800 Ghana cedi.
For sugar?
For a bag of sugar.
What size? 25, 50 kg.
50 kg. Today, I bought the same quantity of sugar, 50 kg, for 450 Ghana cedi. In Tripoli. Yes. You have saved how much? And that is the money that the government has put in your pocket. Right. So this idea of the president did not speak on the real state of the economy is not factual. On the Akoko Nkiti, I see on social media people trying to misquote the president, saying that the figure he mentioned 720. Yes. The real figure is 720,000 divided by 13,000 people.
But in the video, the president mentioned
so it was a slip of tongue.
Yes. Yes.
And we all make mistakes. It's a human being. So let's not make political capital out of it. I have poultry farmers in my constituency, and they are happy with that program.
There are some of the farmers in the constituency who got the birds?
They are happy. And more are yet to be delivered to the constituency as well.
Yesterday I heard your colleague, Akwetia MP, on a sister radio station saying that the birds have not been given to farmers, they've rather been given to the agric extension officers. How accurate is that?
It's not accurate. We have individuals' names that we have submitted to the government agencies, the agric extension officers. They will receive it and then give the fowls or the poultry to the individuals.
So you are saying on authority that there are 13 in your constituency. There are some farmers who have received
exactly, and more are yet to be received. On the Ajumaura, I have people in my constituency who went through the training, and they are also waiting for disbursement of fund to improve on their business. We have never seen that before. So I believe that Ghana is in the path of growth. Let's look at our credit rating. Today, due to the prudent economic management, Fitch has rated our economy to B-, when actually it was Aldi. The same thing to Modi. So, you see, one thing we forget is the ditch, how deep we were sunk in from the past or the previous years. It's not easy to come out easily. It will take time for the economy to recover. It will take time to see the impact of the growth that we are realizing. On the cocoa issue, I saw some of my colleague MPs on the other side, my friends, trying to heckle the president in the chamber concerning the cocoa price. I think it's fair enough. They deserve the higher price, yes. But we have to be conscious of what is happening globally. My area, we don't grow cocoa. We have other cash crops that we grow, like the sesame. Last year, a bowl of sesame was almost 200 Ghana cedi. This year is far less, I think it's 50 Ghana cedi. So the sesame farmer in Chereponi cannot say that because last year one bowl of sesame was 200 Ghana cedi. This year, the buyer should have to pay more than 400 in order to purchase it. All depends on, Ghana is not in isolation. The president mentioned, and I'm so happy that when my leader, Honorable, the majority leader, when he stood up, he compared Ghana to that of Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is one of the leading producers of cocoa in Africa and even in the world. Just like Ghana. The price the Ivory Coast government has agreed to pay the farmers is far less than what Ghana government is paying our cocoa farmers today. Ghana is paying even twice the amount that Ivory Coast government is or has agreed to pay the cocoa farmers in Ivory Coast. So Ghana is not in isolation. It is a global problem. And sometime before you eat an omelette, you have to break the eggs. It's a very, very tough decision that the government has taken. And I believe our farmers in due time will be compensated appropriately when the price of cocoa in the world market increases. We cannot continue to go for loans to add more debt on our domestic debt in order to pay for the cocoa price. Right. If we continue this way, then we are heading to the ditch that we were in, and we are trying to come out. So I believe that we are in the path of growth, and the president did the needful, and he did exactly what Ghanaians expected him to do. Right. Thank you.
Thank you. So let me speak to Powers, then I'll come to Kwame. Powers, so I'll read something for you. Mr. Speaker, we inherited an economy that was running a deficit with increasing inflation and interest rate. It was also characterized by a rapidly depreciating currency. This unstable macro environment created an unfavorable investment environment for both indigenous and foreign capital. I'll go down to say our public sector debt stands at 72%. This, can you guess which year's SONA this is? This is not this year. Can you guess when this was read?
You know, first time.
No. So this was first time. This was Mahama last, the 2016, when he was doing his last. This is what he said. That he inherited a junk economy from the Kufuor administration. Now this is Nana Addo 2017. Mr. Speaker, the promise to the Ghanaian people, however, not kept. The promise that they will not spend in 2012. In fact, virtually all the targets under the IMF program as of December 2016 have been missed. Fiscal discipline once again reared its head in the 2016 election year. Talks about it and says that we currently have a debt to Ghana's debt stock now stands at 74% of GDP. We inherited an economy which was in a junk state. So this was it. When you read what Professor, the current administration also said, the same thing. Is it a case that everybody comes, bastardizes the previous administration, and then goes? Because it looks like it's the same script, but different characters playing the roles.
Because the thing is that you read, you notice that within the space of 3 administrations, one particular term recurred. Junk. So that should tell you the political aspect of the whole conversation.
So should we even believe anything we hear them say now?
In fact, the thing is, sometimes you just have to, it's a constitutional responsibility they have to provide. And they have no other option than to carry out that responsibility. But as to whether or not we believe everything that the president or the previous president even put out, some of them are contentious. Some of them have had, I mean, some fact-checking institutions like Dubawa, Ghana, and other organizations have had to fact-check some of the even claims made by the previous government, particularly even some claims made by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo were fact-checked and some were found to be untrue. And even currently, there are some statements that the President John Dramani Mahama made just yesterday that I know some fact-checking institutions have fact-checked. Some of the claims were found to be untrue.
I think the one on the employment, the 1 million, particularly, because 1 million and then 330,000.
Exactly. Because the president says within the space of quarter 1 and quarter 2, over
quarter 3, I think.
Quarter 3, yes, quarter 3, 1 and quarter 3, over 1 million jobs had been created. But particularly, I read the quarterly labor force survey report by the Ghana Statistical Service, which said report was published in December 2025, right. And it put matters in their proper perspective. It says that between Q1 and Q3, about 330,000 Ghanaians found employment. So the presidents claimed that over 1 million employment or jobs were created within Q1 and Q3 was inaccurate. And it is important we point that out, because the thing is that I'm expecting that, in fact,
when do you read this?
No, it's available online. You can Google.
I'm not saying it's not available. When did you?
So I'm saying yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
So
there's actually even there's a video. A video insert has been done where the same statistical service
the current boss,
because the president quoted the statistical service when he was saying that according to the statistical service report for Q1 to Q3 2025, it was 1 million. Then there's a video of the person, the boss also giving an address and indicating that the same Q1 to Q3 it was 330,000.
In fact, when you read paragraph 4, page IV of the report, the said report, it captures it. It makes it clear that 330,000 jobs were created within Q1 and Q3, and about over 15 million people participated in the labor force within the same period. So the president's comment was clearly inaccurate. But I watched the president. Technically, you were right. This appeared to be, even though in 2025 he gave, he addressed the state, the nation, in regards to by providing the nation of state address. Technically, this is his first, because of the work he has done within the space of 1 year. And I can confidently say that there's been some economic turnaround, but it is important to also credit the efforts of previous administration. Because within the space of 1 year, I don't think that this government has carried out enough intervention programs to deserve all the praises. The previous administration deserves a pat in the back. Because most of the interventions, government interventions, in Kukon, Kiti, and the other, even the 24-hour economy policy, that was even promised. The messianic 24-hour economy is yet to even take off.
The office has been established. The law has been enacted. So those are the...
Yes, so they are yet to take off. And I watched an interview GTV had with Dr. Gusitano, who is spearheading the 24-hour economy. And I'm hoping he will be giving the nod to head the authority, obviously because of the work he's doing. And he says they will not force anybody to... This
one is on Talking Point, right, on Sunday?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And he says they will not force anyone to adopt the 133.
He says it's not compulsory, yeah.
What does the 133 mean? 1 job, 3 shifts, 3 people.
Right.
That was the fulcrum of the promise. That 1 job will yield 3 people with 3 shifts. So the expectation is that if any organization is adopting the 24-hour economy policy, the organization will expand in terms of workforce.
Right.
That will create more jobs. In fact, I supported this policy back then in 2024, but the conversation has not been consistent for me. And I think we are losing the policy to politics.
But you see, not to cut you, and that is one of the big problems I have with politicians. On the podium, on the campaign platforms, what they say, when they finish and they are putting their manifesto and the policy documents together, they take some out. Exactly. For instance, even with the previous administration, the 1D1F,
I'm telling you,
the whole impression given on campaign platform was every district will have one built from scratch. Only for you to pick the 1D1F policy document and realize that, oh, we're talking about private partnership in some instances. Already existing businesses will be given some amount of money to expand so they can recruit more. Yeah. But people were now measuring them according to what they heard them say. Because a lot of people will not go and read the policy document. And that's what they do. This 133 now, all of a sudden, it looks like everybody's shifting away from it and talking about, no, it's not that's not what we are talking about. Exactly. It's about giving people so they can.
So, that's what I'm saying. We are losing the policy to politics. And that is the difficulty I have. And you are right to point out the bit about the 1D1F. In fact, I was scandalized when the government had to draw out the policy brief, and I realized that what they promised on the campaign platforms had completely changed. Because I was also, I was excited that every district was going to get a factory.
So this one is coming.
So that's what I'm saying, that the 24-hour economy promised. I shudder to say that I am afraid that this 24-hour economy will suffer the same fate of the 1D1F. And it's because of the inconsistent communication. For Dr. Gusitando to say that they cannot force anybody to adopt the 133, it doesn't mean that you cannot force anybody to adopt the 24-hour economy policy. But you cannot force them to adopt the 133.
So you can sign on, but not necessarily employ more people.
Exactly.
So you can use your same staff strength and spread them over the 3 shifts.
So if you pick public funds to support a private institution that signs onto the 24-hour economic policy, yet that institution fails to yield the 133, are we moving forward or we are going back? That is the conversation we should be having within this period. It's not about the law. It's not about these glamorous, extravagant institutions yielding or allocating funds to a particular institution. It's about whether or not what was promised Ghanaians will be provided or delivered. Then, Kojo, energy. In fact, I commend this government for keeping the lights on. Despite some, on and off situations in certain areas, which they claim to be localized faults. See, let's stop these terminologies. If certain areas do not have lights, stop saying localized. If localized, why won't you solve them? Why do certain locations keep on having localized electricity issues, yet we will not be able to resolve them? It is doing so. Doing so does not mean does not mean the whole of the country will go off. Even if 2 or 3 key areas had to, or some people in 2 or 3 areas had to sleep in darkness, that alone is a big issue. Go to the government. The president said that so far we've been able to, when it comes to our national electricity access rate, we're able to reach 89%. In fact, that data is accurate because when I look at World Bank data, it also points to 89.05 or 9%, which is accurate. But this was achieved in 2024. So what percentage did they add to the tally within the space of 1 year? But at 2024, we had reached the 89.09% national electricity access rate. That was the figure the president pointed out. So what percentage did they add from January or let me say from January, 6 January or 7 January to today, what percentage did they have to access to the access rate?
Interesting question.
So the president only reported what we already know. And that is not the state of report or the state of nation address we are expecting. We are expecting what you were able to do within the space of the 1 year. That, the president did not report on that. The figure he gave was a figure we achieved or attained in 2024. We said data the World Bank had or has published in key reports. So on that score, the president didn't tell us what they have been able to do. And what percentage of this renewable energy they've been able to add to the tally. We need all this data. How are we making progress as a country? Then the almighty ORA. The president says it takes time and that due diligence has to be followed. But didn't they know this when they were in opposition?
But that one didn't give a timeline.
No, honorable, relax. Didn't they know this? Didn't they know this? When they had to forcefully fashion out a report to say that, oh, there's this amount they hope to recover for the country.
There's some unconfirmed reports that the Attorney General says that those figures were Okujesu's figures, not his figures.
It's not even unconfirmed because the Attorney General even said that figure may not be a representation of what they could be able to recover. That's realism outdoing politics. Sometimes in this country we joke too much. We do politics with everything. Everything is about politics. Everything is about politics. Honorable, I'm saying that if there are elements in the previous administration who may have engaged in some underhand dealings, deal with them. Deal with them.
You have to follow the law.
I agree. No, I agree. We follow the law. But here again, the Attorney General says he will prioritize recovery over jailing people. Then I ask myself, is this how we make, or is this how we progress as a country? You prioritize recovery over jailing people. What are you doing psychologically? What are you telling the younger generation? If someone engages in unarmed dealings, or maybe the person misappropriates public funds, and you say that the person should bring 50% or 20%, or the person should retain, or let's say the person should retain 40% and retain 60% to the country, and you are saying that by reason of that, if you're able to recover that, we've made progress. What kind of logic is this? This is how we build the country. Then everybody will be interested in dipping his or her hands into the public purse, with the hope that definitely the Attorney General will cut some deal and give him 40%, and he will return only the 60% to the country. That's how we build. When there's time to jail people, jail them. That's how you sanitize and put the fear of God in people. Then I've been asking, this is a question I've been asking, what has become of the case involving the former finance minister and former governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Dufour? You remember, early last year, the Attorney General was saying that they were interested in recovery. They will have an agreement with him where he will refund certain funds, 60% of the money to him. What has become of that matter? And again, there's a report or a complaint before IOCO, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, where some two leading members of the governing National Democratic Congress were referred.
On the Galamsey.
On the issue of Galamsey. ORA should not be limited to only elements in the opposition government. No. Oralize your own people.
But who referred them? It was the government. So that means ORA is working on that.
It's not about whether who refer or not. The issue is that let's see visibly what has been done. That's how we progress. That's what we are looking for. We are not looking for, and Kwame was right. It's not about the record. It's not about the repeated phrases. Whether this government referred or not, because we know this government, Abu Bakr, was it not current President Mahama who initiated the proceedings against him, criminal proceedings against him. So when it comes to matters, internal matters, we know President John Mahama can do it, but we need visibility. Talk is cheap. We need the answers. Iyoko is sitting on the report. Whatever the report says, Iyoko must outdo that. Let us know. Are they truly engaged in these illicit activities, trying to, in fact, destroy our water bodies and environments? These are matters we should be interested in. Kojo, then, the opposition New Patriotic Party. Sometimes we reduce our politics into mockery, and it saddens me. Politics is a serious business. We reduce politics into mockery. So you walk into the chambers, then you walk into the chambers holding cocoa pots and telling government that they have shortchanged cocoa farmers. I think they've just lost the battle, because there are certain conversations that should not be reduced to politics. And on this cocoa matter, I have said that this is a national crisis that requires urgent solution, and it requires bipartisan conversation, not politics as usual. Today, as we speak, cocoa is trading less than $3,000 on the world market. And you want government to pay 58,000 cedis farm gate price to cocoa farmers. This is not sustainable. And now I've said this time without number that this opposition MPP should learn to, in fact, engage in civil conversation that will help and move this country forward. Wearing such with inscriptions, cocoa equal then Yayamobo Dodo. What kind of politics? This is petty politics. Sometimes we should learn to do the right thing and move forward. This conversation, granted, so if imagine this had happened in the during the reign of President Nana Akufo-Addo, would we be talking about why the government has shortchanged the cocoa farmers? In fact, it is even to the interest of cocoa farmers for this to be reduced, because in that sense, the government will be able to pay you the realistic price. Otherwise, we have to go and borrow to offshore the deficit, or to make room for the deficit. How do you then? How do you borrow? You borrow to compensate people. In fact, when this issue started, I was one of the voices that said that the government must hold a conversation with the cocoa farmers and tell them that we are not ready, or it is not realistic to pay the 58,000 cedis for the farm gate price. I'm happy this government has initiated the conversation. Cocoa board must sit up. And that leads me to my conclusion. I've seen, and I know the Cocoa Board CEO is on the management board of, in fact, the Black Star management board.
Yeah, I think
the chairman.
The chairperson of the management committee.
So, preferably, it's expected to be in those three countries, or even US, Canada, exactly, Mexico. It's expected to be in the three countries, because probably, I'm sure if we progress to the final, we'll play in all the three countries. Because there's crisis at Cocoa Board. I don't expect him to continue chairing the Black Star Management Committee.
In short, he should drop one.
Yes, he has to drop one. Because this is a major crisis that we are having to deal with. You can't be double-minded. It's not about the money that he stands to gain. Because the 60,000 he stands to gain, it's not about what that conversation is about. It's about the fact that you have been given a national institution to manage. Choose one. And I think he should drop the chairmanship position at the Black Star Management Committee and concentrate on Cocoa Board. Otherwise, the government has an option. Set him aside from Cocoa Board. Let him concentrate on GFA, so that you put someone in charge. Because we need the person we need the person right in this country to steer that or spearhead the affairs of Cocoa Board. or steer the affairs of Cocoa Board, not in the three countries, focusing on football and soccer.
Thank you. I'll come back to you another. We'll take the video from the president on the Galamsey. When it comes, I would start the Galamsey discussion with Kwame, and then we'll go into other matters. So let's have the Galamsey video, please.
Grave threat to our environment, water bodies, public health, and national security. Mr. Speaker, prosecution of persons engaged in illegal mining has been intensified, with a renewed focus on dismantling organized criminal networks behind Galamsey operations, rather than targeting only the little fish, low-level offenders. Mr. Speaker, in all these Galamsey operations, there are big fish who never get caught. Mr. Speaker, in total, over 114 case dockets involving hundreds of accused persons are pending in various courts across the country, particularly in towns and villages that are prone to illegal mining. Specialized prosecutorial teams have been deployed to fast-track illegal mining cases, ensure the effective presentation of evidence, and pursue the confiscation and forfeiture of equipment and proceeds used in or derived from illegal mining. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to gender and social protection, my government will continue to ensure gender equality and equity, promote the welfare and protection of children's rights, and empower the vulnerable, the aged, and persons with disability for sustainable national development. Work is well advanced on the Women's Development Bank, for which a total of 401 million Ghana cedis has been allocated in the 2026 budget. The coming months will see a full rollout of this monumental policy to empower Ghanaian women and women-owned businesses economically and financially. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection has successfully honored all legacy leave payment cycles for 2025 and before, reaching 1.5 million people. It has also ensured the full implementation of the Ghana School Feeding Program in over 12,000 public schools across all 261 districts of this country. Mr. Speaker, the number of beneficiary peoples under the school feeding program has increased from 3,801,491 for the 2023-2024.
Right, Kwame. So in addressing it in general, touch on the bit about the Galamsey. Again, I'm saying this because in all our earlier discussions on Galamsey, you've been present in all our discussions on Galamsey. So it's only fair that I ask you to touch on it whilst you speak in the general sense of the State of the Nation addresses.
Well, let me seize this moment to thank His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana. First of all, I admire what he wore. It is an indication that he is very committed to promoting Ghana. And it is also a demonstration that all of us must begin to wear Ghana, as myself, Braco, and Honorable have done, and yourself, good self. Your wife, by the way, a very good seamstress. Thank you. Have done this morning. And also, let me comment. Both the majority and the minority for being present and for representing their constituencies. And most importantly, also conducting themselves well, albeit there were some small hiccups here and there, but generally, they really conducted themselves well. Because you know that in the past, it has always been very chaotic. And also to say that I really admired Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman's outfit. Really beautiful. And yesterday on the floor, I think almost everybody was wearing made in Ghana. You know, even the minority, who some of them were wearing long sleeves, they still had some representation of Ghana. And it was such a very beautiful atmosphere. within the presence of Parliament. Now, before the presentation of the State of the Nation address, which is a constitutional obligation as you rightly introduced, I had some expectations. I expected His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to touch on the macroeconomic gains, to deal with the issue of jobs, to deal with the issue of governance and accountability, to deal with the issue of energy, and to deal with the issue of social protection. And to say that this particular State of the Nation address, which was presented yesterday, was a profound one, particularly because of where we are as a nation. And also that it is something that, you know, potentially has shaped and has given meaning to our democratic and economic trajectory. The question then becomes, did the president meet my expectations? I would say largely about 90% of my expectations were met. And I'll explain the 90% less the 10%, which 10% actually is one of the most important aspects of governance that I believe all leaders must always, at all material times, touch on. But before I get into that, let me look at one thing that was said by my colleague, lawyer Bracco, and to say that it is quite unfortunate that he talks about the fact that the previous administration ought to be praised for the gains made by this administration, and goes ahead to list a number of things that, in his estimation, is flowing from the performance or otherwise of the previous administration, and went ahead to ask the question whether all the gains that we have made were made within this first year of NDC's administration, and also sought to question the ECG, or electricity access rate, the percentage, and to say that what has His Excellency John Dramani Mahama added, for which reason he is saying or claiming glory for. Now, to the question whether the previous administration played an important role in the performance or otherwise of the economy, I would want to say that much as I agree that government is a continuum and that you inherit both as asset and liability, it is also very instructive that you give credence and praise to whom praise is due. I would have been the first to appreciate the previous administration if they had really contributed to the economic gains we've made. The reason why I'm saying this is because the performance of an economy is predicated on a number of factors. And all of these factors boils down to what we call the economic indicators.
Right.
Now, if you look at what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said, the economy that was inherited by the previous, by this current administration, it was an alien economy. It was a broken economy. It was an economy that had no hope or no future. And that is what they picked. Now, how were they going to be able to reverse the negatives that we have made in order that we can now step into some positives? It meant that we needed to be very prudent with our economy. Now, one of the things that we ought to look at that this government has done, for which reason all the praise must be given to them, is that one, they looked at what we call fiscal consolidation. And you are a finance person, you know what it is. How have you been able to manage your debt? How have you been able to manage inflation? How have you been able to manage your monetary policy? How have you been able to manage your even spending? Fiscal expenditure? And expenditure management and control is very instrumental when it comes to fiscal consolidation. The conduct of your finance ministry, the conduct of government, the conduct of the Bank of Ghana, and the conduct of other state institutions that are mandated to manage economic activities in this country. How have you been able to manage all of that? It is very instructive. Now, when you look at all of these things, clearly you can see that there is a certain marriage between monetary and fiscal. Monetary managed by the governor of the Bank of Ghana,
fiscal managed by the finance minister. Which is why, if you have noticed, people are saying that, oh, we are not spending so much. We are not spending so much. Because we spent to the point where, in terms of even the surplus that we had, it was in the negative. In fact, it was nothing to write home about. It was not necessarily in the negative, but it was nothing to write home about. Now we are talking about some gains that we have made, which is hovering around, I believe, we've made primary surplus of about 2.6%.
Yes.
What primary surplus means is government expenditure, right? Sorry, government's revenue less government expenditure.
Yes.
So what government is raking in and what government is spending. And you can attest to the fact that government has, or this administration has been very prudent with its expenditure. Spending in the right places, which will give us the right revenues. That is what is happening. So clearly, we have made a surplus of 2.6%. Unprecedented. You know this. If you also look at GDP, or debt to GDP, it was hovering around 70%, around 2023, thereabout. Now, you are talking about some 44.5%. It's around 113 billion USD. So clearly, that is attributable to who?
The current government.
It is attributable to the current administration. Now, it is important that you also look at inflation, because inflation really is, in my estimation, the bedrock of your fiscal consolidation. So that you are talking about how prices of goods and services are managed. You have different sectors. You have manufacturing inflation, you have food inflation, you have all other inflationary determinants. If you look at the general inflation, around 2023 to 2024 thereabout, it was around 54%.
At the end of 2022.
At the end of 2022, it was around 54%. Yes. Then it plummeted to 3.5
by the end of 2024.
Now it is hovering around 3.8%.
Yes.
And when you talk about these things, people say, but it's not translating into the general economic outlook, which is the market economy, right? The determination of the price of goods and services and all of that. It does translate, albeit that, you don't see these things, because these are indicators that are determining the prices of goods and services. So that you are talking about the fact that, yes, price of goods and services will go up, because it will always go up, but it will go up at a certain percentage, which is the 3.8%. Juxtapose that to when inflation was around 23.5%. What it meant was that prices of goods and services will continue to rise, but it will rise at a percentage of 23.5%. And then what it meant, that also would mean, is that prices of goods and services will always go up exponentially. So that is what it means. That means that there's some benefit. I keep telling people that the reason why we have not seen some, if you like, decrement in the general price of goods and services is because of market uncertainties. And you're a finance person, you know that albeit that the cedi is rising against the dollar, there is what we call market uncertainty in economics. So predictability and uncertainty. If the market is uncertain and people are not sure whether the gains that we are making are sustainable, they will be cautious. Because today they may reduce the price, tomorrow it will go up, and they will not be sure whether they can cater for the difference that there exists. So we need to be very, very, we need to be very truthful and speak to facts. But what it is that today, as we speak this morning, the cedi is performing very well. I'm surprised you give me 5 minutes. Oh God,
I'm not giving.
Okay. now look. Let me tell you something.
You have how many pages?
Honorable talks about that the fact that what the president put forward partially was accurate, partially was inaccurate, and then moves ahead to talk about inflation, currency appreciation, and all of that. That, well, those ones, yes, some small gains, but he's not seeing that. You see, if your hypothesis is wrong, your conclusion will be wrong. And albeit that he is a finance person, I believe that his judgment.
You mean Prof?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. You said honorable. So.
Oh, sorry, Prof. His judgment was clouded, in my respectful opinion, by political partisanship. That is what it is. Because if you are saying that you don't see the gains that we are making, then it means that you are intentionally, you've intentionally decided to be blind to what the gains that you are seeing, that we are seeing. Look at the prices of fuel at the pump. We've seen significant decrease in that area. So it is not true that we are not seeing gains in the market economy. It is there. You are seeing, unless you decide not to see it. So in terms of the general economic outlook, in terms of performance, in terms of all of that, we are seeing that happen. Now, the icing on the cake really for me is, in terms of the economy, is a 24-hour economy. Now, the 24-hour economy, which is actually very, very important, is that it is supposed to do what? It is supposed to address some fundamental issues which has got to do with, creation of jobs and ensuring that the economy runs, on 24 hours. And that should translate into the multiplying effect of creating jobs for the young people and all of that. That for me was the icing on the cake. As to whether or not the money allocated to that office is enough, it's a question, it's a conversation we can have. Because, and that brings me to the 10% that I didn't experience, or I didn't hear the president talk about. The 10% has got to do with youth unemployment and the issue of rent. Albeit that, per the research made by my brother Braco, that Statistical Service saying that some 330,000 people have been employed within this Q1 to Q3. I believe that we can do more. And the president admits and says that even the 1 million coders, he has not achieved the said target. And he's saying that, they have put measures in place to ensure that they expand it, because there's going to be some online activities that will lead to the expansion of the numbers. So if that is achieved, then maybe we can get closer to 500,000. But it is not enough for me that we are only training people. We are training them to come and do what? Because I don't want a repetition of NAPCO, that we went and we trained people, and at the end of the day, these people were not gainfully employed. I don't want that to happen ever again. So if we are training 1 million coders, we should ensure that we have created the necessary, environment for them to be able to now get something to do, or to be able to start their own businesses.
Okay.
The other issue that I have to deal with, and I think I see your time is up. Yes. The other issue that I wanted to talk about, that the president, in fact, I spoke about that the president didn't touch on, was the issue of rent. It is something that ought to be dealt with. It's a national security
need to have a discussion crisis on this rent with you.
The national security crisis.
You are passionate about it.
The viewers should forgive me because of time. I will not be able to. But there are so many issues that I wanted us to discuss relative to the State of the Nation address. I just want to say that I'm happy, in concluding, that it was not a recount of intentions. Largely, it was measurable. Largely, it spoke to things which have been done, because that is what we need to know, not what is in your head. So the president speaks about a lot of them, talks about even the energy sector, talks about the fact that they've cleared about $500 million debt in the energy sector. They've expanded this, they've done that. That is what I always want to hear when we are talking about the state of the nation, not what you intend to do or the projections that you want to do.
Right. Thank you very much, Kwame. Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Powers, and Prof, for your time. Time flies when you are enjoying.
You gave all the time to Braco. They gave all the time to Braco.
I gave 20 minutes to each. Is that a 9:40?
Let's go for 10 minutes.
No, 9:40.
When you gave me. The time was 9:45 when I started talking.
Okay, viewers, you have your watches, so you can help me determine the time. But thank you very much. We will be back next week. Definitely, this is a topic that we need to discuss more, because the state of the nation. It's a broad document. Enjoy your weekend, stay blessed, and see you next week.